Sunday at the All England Club, a man who has not lost a tennis match on this lawn in 13 straight tries will walk out to defend everything he's built, and standing across the net will be the one player who just proved that even Jannik Sinner's fiercest rivals can finally break through when it matters most. This is not just another Wimbledon final. This is a coronation waiting to happen or a statement waiting to be made, depending on which side of the net you're standing on. Sinner arrives unbeaten on center court, having won 13 consecutive matches at the tournament that means more to him than any other on the calendar. Across from him will be Alexander Zverev, a man who spent years being called the best player never to win a major until 6 weeks ago in Paris, when he finally silenced that label for good. The numbers heading into Sunday tell one story. Sinner has beaten Zverev 9 times in a row, 4 of those wins coming this year alone. He hasn't dropped a set against the German in 6 consecutive meetings. Their last encounter wasn't close. A brutal 6-0, 6-1 beatdown in the Paris Masters semifinal that left little doubt about the hierarchy between them. Since then, only one set between them has resembled a real contest, a tie-break in Miami back in March. On paper, this looks like a mismatch dressed up as a final. But paper doesn't win Grand Slam titles, and Sinner knows it. The Zverev walking into this final is not the same player who has spent years losing the biggest matches of his career. This is a Zverev who finally has a major trophy sitting at home, who beat Flavio Coballi in the French Open final, and in doing so, exorcised demons that had followed him since his teenage years. Sinner has noticed the shift. He described his opponent as playing with a new aggression, a new calm, a level of confidence that simply wasn't there before Paris. When you finally get over that mountain, something changes. Zverev said it himself. Once you know how to win a major, you carry that knowledge with you. You believe you can do it again. For Sinner, Sunday is about chasing his 5th Grand Slam crown and doing it on the surface where he feels most at home. He called Wimbledon the most special tournament on tour, and it shows in how he plays here. This will be his 2nd final at the All England Club, and his 7th Grand Slam final overall, but his path back to this stage hasn't been smooth. He crashed out in the 2nd round at Roland Garros just weeks ago, a shocking exit for a player of his caliber, and his last Grand Slam final appearance ended in defeat to Carlos Alcaraz at the US Open. So there's redemption on the table here too, not just for Zverev, but for Sinner as well. A win Sunday would also hand him a milestone, his 100th Grand Slam match victory, and it would come by beating the very same opponent he defeated in the 2025 Australian Open final. Getting to this point wasn't easy for either man. Sinner needed a comeback for the ages just to survive his opening match, clawing back from 2 sets down against Miomir Kekmanovic in a first-round scare nobody saw coming. He admitted afterward that he knew he had to raise his level immediately, and from that match on, he barely lost a set. His semifinal against Novak Djokovic was the clearest sign, yet of where his game is right now. Sinner didn't just beat the 39-year-old Serbian, he dismantled him, turning in his most complete performance of the tournament and settling a score from their Australian Open semifinal loss back in January. If there were any doubts about Sinner's readiness for Sunday, that performance erased them. Zverev's road here carries its own weight of history. A year ago, he suffered one of the most humbling defeats of his career, going out in the first round to Arthur Rinderknecht, a result that seemed to confirm every criticism ever leveled at his grass court game. 12 months later, he stands one match from becoming the first German man to win Wimbledon since Michael Stick lifted the trophy in 1991, and the first German man even to reach this final since Boris Becker in 1995. Win or lose, that alone marks a stunning turnaround. But Zverev isn't just chasing history for its own sake. A victory Sunday would make him only the 7th man in the Open era to complete the French Open and Wimbledon double, joining a list that includes Alcaraz, Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, Borg, and Laver. That's not a list you sneak onto. That's a list reserved for the greatest players the sport has ever produced. Both men have been almost untouchable through the tournament, dropping just 2 sets apiece across their run to the final, and both understand exactly what's at stake in the small details. Zverev pointed to the serve and return patterns as the key battleground, a nod to how tight these matches against Sinner have been even when the scoreline suggested otherwise. Sinner, for his part, respects what Zverev has become since Paris. He called him more aggressive, more relaxed, more dangerous than he's ever seen him. That's not the kind of thing a 9-time winner says about an opponent unless he genuinely believes something has shifted. So Sunday becomes a question with no obvious answer. Does history repeat itself? With Sinner extending a winning streak that has left Zverev searching for answers for over a year? Or does the German, freshly liberated by his breakthrough in Paris, finally find a way to solve the puzzle that has haunted him 9 times in a row? Sinner enters as the favorite, and every number backs that up. But Zverev enters as a different man than the one who lost all those previous meetings, a man who now knows exactly what it feels like to win when it matters most. On the lawns of the All-England Club, with a Grand Slam trophy and a piece of history on the line, that difference might be the only number that actually counts.